my business and became successful and became my own boss and did what I loved and got paid to do what I love, I did loads of jobs that I hated, where I was treated bad. There was one particular job, I was working as a night concierge. Now, bearing in mind, that was a job that I wanted for many years, and there's nothing wrong with that job. That's respectable. I've got respect for anybody who gets off their arse and goes and does a day's job, whatever job that they do. So that's not my point here. I remember doing this job, and obviously at the time I had no confidence in myself. I had very little confidence. I was extremely shy, but I was a nice kid, you know, good manners and hard working, and very afraid to make mistakes, which is kind of a good thing. It makes you work harder. And at the time, obviously, I was delegated to do my job. I was doing it well, and I started to get tips, which was lovely, because it wasn't a high paid job, but it was good enough at the time. But as I started getting the tips, the guy that was in charge of me, he was telling me that I had to hand all my tips in, and I didn't think, that didn't sit right with me. That didn't feel right. That I was going out of my, you know, breaking my back basically, carrying heavy things upstairs to the residents' places that they were asking me. They were giving me a tip, and I had to give my tips in. It was basically, you're taking away my money, and I'm breaking my back here. But there was another thing that he did that I didn't like. He started talking bad about the other co-workers who I liked and started calling them cunts. And I just thought, that's really nasty. And he was trying to get me to do it, and I wouldn't do it. You know, and it was uncomfortable for me, because I was afraid to lose my job. You know, that was my liberty, that was my security. I had to pay rent at the time. And I didn't want to lose my job, because I worked so hard to get that job. And it was hard for me to get a job having such bad social anxiety. I was very nervous around people anyway. So it took me a lot to get that role, and I appreciated that job at the time. And as I said, the people were actually lovely. So he starts calling the other co-workers cunts behind their back, and he was being nice in their face. And he was being very nice to me at the start, and I was very nice to him. But over time, it started getting to me. And I remember at the time, I was listening to Les Brown. I was going through this kind of confusing time in my life, and I was trying to change my life. I wanted to get a girlfriend, I wanted to better my life, but I didn't believe in myself at the time. So I was reading some of this Les Brown, listening to his stuff, and after a while I started getting anxiety going to work, because I was dreading spending time around this guy who was my boss. I don't like two-faced people, right? If you've got something to say, have some guts between your legs and say it to someone's face. And he was very manipulative, and he was starting to bully me subtly. And I'd been through bullying before, and I hate bullies, I don't like bullying, and he was starting to be rude and belittle me. So I remember thinking, you know what? He's the cunt. He's calling everyone else a cunt, and these are nice people doing their job. He won't say it to their face. I don't want to work for a cunt like this guy anymore. I don't want this guy controlling me, dictating when I get paid, when I can go for a piss, and when I can be happy or not. I'm not having someone control me in my life and treat me like this. So I have to man up. I've got to face my thing. No one's going to do it for me. My parents can't do it for me. I love my parents. No one's going to do it. And I was afraid to leave that job and quit, because what am I going to do? I've got no education in terms of academically at school, and I don't have any qualifications. But I knew deep down in my heart I was destined to do great things. And listening to Les Brown confirmed that my intuition was right. And I didn't have to listen to a cunt like this guy calling other people cunts that were nice people when he was the cunt. I didn't want to work with someone like that, have someone bullying me, treating me like that, right? Bearing in mind, I have worked for some really good people, so not everybody's like that, but there's a lot of bosses who will bully they will bully you if they can, and especially if they can sense that you're a bit of a pushover, and I was at the time. But eventually I grew the courage, and I told him to stick his job up his arse. It's not the first time that I've done that. I've done it on a building site of another bully. I left that job. Although I was afraid, I felt free, I felt better. And that's when I started working on myself, and eventually, through trial and error, through failure, through such bad fear, through discomfort, I grew into my new position. I gained confidence, and I set my own business up. So that's a true story, that's a true account. Anybody who out there, and I know there's millions, who doesn't like their boss and they don't like the way they're being treated, take responsibility. Even though this guy was wrong, even though he was a bully, he was nasty, he was calling people cunts, he would have called me that behind my back, I treated him well. From what I could see, the other co-workers were good people. They were just honest people trying to make a living. But I had to face my fears. Otherwise, I'd have this guy telling me what to do my whole life, and the bullying would have got worse and worse. As he got to know me more and see my vulnerabilities and see that he's in a position of power over me, he would have started mistreating me, and I could not let that happen. So at the end of the day, guys, we can blame everybody else, our boss, for treating us wrong, and it's not right. If you want, you should report it, but it's down to you to change it. No one's going to change you other than yourself. So if you don't like your salary, grow some courage, stop being a coward. Invest your hard-earned money in a mentor, either myself or somebody else that can help you, that's been through what you've been through and been successful. So I was able to successfully take myself out of a position that I hated eventually, that I didn't like, that was making me not like myself, put myself in a position where I like myself, love my job, increase my salary. And I remember thinking, when I start working with people and clients, I ain't gonna treat them like this cunt does, because that's what his word. I'm gonna treat people the way that I wanna be treated, which is with kindness, respect, and I'm gonna be fair. Fair but firm. I'm not gonna let my clients push me over anybody. And that's what happened. I started attracting clients that were nice people. Of course, occasionally, you know, I've had clients that are a fucking nightmare, a pain in the ass to work with. But for the most part, most of the clients I work with are lovely people, and I get on with them and they listen, and I can change their life, and we're both happy. So anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can. But it does take a lot of guts. And you can't keep saying, oh, next week I'll do it. Because if you're 20 now, you're going to be 30 very soon. If you're 30, you're going to be 40. Time goes quick. It really does. So make the most of it, and don't treat other people like a cunt, but don't let anybody else treat you like one, and face your fear. Don't be a coward. You know, too many people today, they live this life of being so careful about everything, careful on their social media posts in case they offend someone, careful in every way. But you've got to go through the hurts and the bumps and the bruises to get to the nice bit. There's no other way. All these books talk shit, they're bullshitting you. These businesses, these people that talk crap, that promise you these pain-free methods, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. They just want your money, and they just want to, whatever they want. So you have to really be willing to go through difficult things, and that's what builds character. My character improved because of the difficulties that I went through, not despite them, because of being treated like a cunt at certain times. Now I wouldn't let anybody treat me like that, and I wouldn't treat other people like that. I developed strong personal boundaries. So you can be fair in life, you can be a good person, you can be kind, but you cannot take shit from anyone. And that's what I live by. I treat people how I want to be treated. I don't take shit from anyone, I don't care who they are. And life is a lot better like that. Of course, it's still going to be challenging, but it's way better when you're doing what you love and being challenged versus when you're not doing what you love, because you're going to be challenged anyway, all right? Fearless.